You're listening to the Josh Parnell Leadership Podcast. We all have leadership within us, and once we understand how to challenge perceived limitations, we're able to influence those we're leading. Josh is a leadership coach, trainer, and speaker. He's also a veteran of the United States Air Force with over 20 years of leadership experience. Are you ready to transform your leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results? Let's get ready for liftoff. It's time to go from great to greater. Here's Josh in today's episode.
Welcome to the Josh Parnell Leadership Podcast. Whether it's inspirational guests like the one we have here today or jam-packed episodes regarding all things leadership, the goal here is quite simple: to reach people and build leaders. And we know that you're here listening because you want to raise your leadership lid and live today to make an impact for tomorrow. So thank you for being here. Let's get into today's exciting episode. Our guest today is a husband. He's a life partner to his beautiful wife, Paige, who is also a small business owner. He's a proud father to his 2-year-old little buddy named Jack. He's a multi-brand and multi-location business owner and operator. He's a private instrument-rated pilot. I'm going to ask you questions about that. Oh. And he's a friend of mine. Our guest today is Bret Beitler.
What's
Bret,
up, man?
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today, Josh. This is awesome being here, man.
Hey, man, thanks for being here. Man, I'm excited for you to share your story with our audience, which is the first question I'm going to ask you to do, but also just to talk to you about what it's like to be a multi-brand, multi-location business owner. I've got to imagine there are a lot of levers you're pulling, just a lot of things going on in your life. So I want to know how you do it. There's got to be some tricks to this. So before we find out all about that, let's find out all about you, Mr. Bret Beitler. Go ahead and share your story with us.
Man, first of all, Josh, man, I told you earlier, you're living a calling, man. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be messy and tough, because everything we do every day, man, like you just got to get up and answer the calling, which is a little bit of what my story's about. When I really understood what my calling was, I understood it at a young age, but I didn't have the faith I have in God's plan. It really came to life at a much deeper understanding that rooted into my system when I got real with my faith, right? We know what responsibility we have on our plate. We own and operate, manage, lead, whatever you want to call it, child care, child experience brands. Mama Bear is your decision maker. You got dads mixed in there, but it's usually Mama Bear, right? And Mama Bear can be really loving and nice and all that, but there's another side to Mama Bear that we've learned that we are responsible for making sure think through when all decisions are made, right? So one facet of our culture is making decisions that's great for our team and our customer at the exact same time. Our team fiercely knows that we answer to a Mama Bear. And I don't mean Mama Bear in any kind of derogatory sense by any means. I mean that in the most loving way possible. Like, mom wants the best for her kids, right? What mom does not want that?
Yep.
So when it comes to preschools, swim schools, or urban air adventure parks, we have a lot of responsibility on our plate, right? So like I said, when we got the feeling we had the responsibility that was a lot to deal with, I don't feel like we really started answering the calling until myself and my business partner, Alex, really got real with our faith probably 5 years ago. And it's gotten significantly more open lens factored.
Yeah.
As we continue to grow each year, as we continue to get more mentoring and coaching, have experiences, wins and losses, all those things are waking us up to be better than we were yesterday. You know, part of our company, Unexpected Results, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, some of our core values center around, can you get 1% better every day, make decisions that are great for your team and your customer, put people in the right seats to win, and this is like God does for us, pursue people, right? Like, have intention behind your conversations, have intention behind how's your journey going? Are you happy? Are you thriving in this role? Are you really well suited to win today, next season, next year? We have those real conversations because of the responsibility we have on our plate.
That's so important that, you're talking about the intentionality that you have making that personal connection with your team members. I'm such a big believer in connection before content. As a business owner, we can talk about content all day and every day, but we can't really influence the people if we're not connecting with the people. You mentioned Unexpected Results. That's the name of your company. You also alluded to preschool, swimming schools, and urban air adventure parks. If you would share with us what your company is and the brands and locations that you guys are owning and operating.
So I'll start with the beginning and go to the forward.
Okay.
We started with Kids Are Kids preschools back in 2017. Looked for sites, didn't work out. Acquired our first Kids Are Kids preschool in the Woodlands, Texas, so north. April of 2018. Myself and my business partner, Alex, said, we don't have an education background. We don't have a degree in education. We've never owned a business. We've never owned a preschool. Let's try this. We had no idea what we were signing up for at the time. We were excited and committed, but we didn't know what we were getting into. Thank God for mentors. Thank God for coaches and all of it and in between, right? We've had an amazing run in the Kids Are Kids world, and the majority of that success is literally attributed to two things: being open to coaching and having coaches, right? Those mentors that have come in and bled greatness into us, as well as gave us the real tough talk wake-up calls, made us go, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I'll do better next time, right? Which led into urban air adventure parks. We had some friends that went from Kids Are Kids to urban air. We saw their success. Man, that's a great fit. Can we buy those business locations in Houston? Market ended up being so that we could do it. So we're like, wow, this is beautiful. Like, we have preschools in Houston and we have urban air adventure parks. Same demographic.
Yeah.
Child care, child experience came together. Flash forward, had some success in urban air, acquired 4 parks in a little over 2 years, which was a blitz fire.
Wow, I bet.
And thank God for our team. We got an amazing director of operations named Jason, an incredible ops coordinator, executive assistant named Ashley, giving you guys a shout out. You're awesome. And many other people that have and really bled this mission to help us bring these parks to the life they are today. They're not where they need to be, but we're way, way better than we were yesterday, right?
Love that, yep.
Which led into an opportunity where our Goldfish Swim School business partner came over to us and said, look, dude, this kind of opportunity doesn't just like come up often. The entire North Houston, which is where the majority of our businesses are, market just came available. We could go build 3 or 4 Goldfish franchise swim schools, same market where you live and where you already have businesses. You understand this. You have preschool, you have urban air, and you have swim schools now. You're starting to talk about like offering a one-stop shop.
Yeah, it's a monopoly almost.
Crazy unique. And I love that game, by the way. It's crazy unique. We punted it for a little while, but God just kept going like,
yeah.
And so we finally said, all right, let's go do this. It doesn't mean it's not coming without challenges. We're going through construction. We've never done that before. There's a lot of like really tough and real things that are happening that get us back into that really uncomfortable stance. Again, get us in the growth mode, right? We're learning things in this process that are helping us out with Kids Are Kids, that are helping us out with urban air, that we never knew we needed to be introduced to until you walk right into.
Bret, you talked about the importance of coaching. I mean, obviously I'm biased. I am a coach, so I love hearing you say this, but whether you're getting coaching from mentors and actual coaches, you're also speaking truth into individuals like Jason and Ashley. How important is it to exercise this mindset of everyone needs a coach? And before you answer that, a quote that I love to share is how we can go fast alone, but we can go further together. So multiple minds truly are better than one. Speak to the importance for those listening who maybe have been thinking about getting a coach but don't have one or haven't pulled the trigger yet. Why is it so important for business owners or team members or employees to find someone who they're willing to allow to speak truth into their life?
It's the only way to win. Like, I mean, it's as simple as I can put it. Myself and Alex probably have, between the 3 brands, 20 coaches.
Love that.
Like, dude. And some of them have one skill set, and we're going to go to that person for that one skill set.
Yeah.
They're so good at it. Some of them have an array. Some of them have multiple, right? Mm-hmm. And so we have gone out of our way to make sure we look at the royalty system, which is ongoing payments, or franchise fees, as our investment in mentoring.
Okay.
So we turned the table.
Yeah.
Some people were like, oh, these fees are killing me. Okay. What can those fees do for you
Right.
if you unlock the resources that are behind those fees?
Love that.
Be an incredible steward of great relationships of the corporate office over to look how many incredible business owners we can sink our teeth into. It's not free. Less than that.
Sure.
But essentially for free. Calling a business owner and going like, dude, I am failing miserably in our kitchen and cafe, part of our business in the urban area venture parks. Cool. I'll fly down and see you next month. Let's do this. But we'll do two phone calls to validate you really do have the problems you say you do. I may be able to fix it over a phone call. If not, dude, I'm there. I'm coming in. Pay my airfare. I got you.
I love that. And when you receive the benefits, your mind begins to shift a paradigm as well, because you go from thinking, well, I can't afford this, and then realizing the resources that you're getting. Now you're being resourceful with those resources. Now you're saying, you know what? I can't not afford this because I see the value and the benefit and the growth and development I'm getting from this outside source. Bret, you mentioned Unexpected Results. So that's the name of your company. Why the name? Where'd you get the name Unexpected Results from?
Well, it goes back to delivering the unexpected. And that was something myself and Alex, my business partner, continuously talked to our teams about out of, honestly, man, the way that we're just wired. Like God wired us for that. Like if you ask any of our preschool ladies in person or behind the scenes, do we deliver something that and the end result always makes you smile? And the end result always makes you go, I have a deeper understanding of the mission and why we do every day. Yeah, right? So that naturally occurred through time and the way we were wired. And then it went over to, okay, we had a business coach through the Vistage model. I don't know if you ever heard Vistage business coaching. Did that for a couple of years. And through that process, we learned what we want to do and what we don't want to do. Both very powerful.
Yeah.
And in the middle of all that, we learned we are our own catalyst to growth or our biggest anchor to slowing down, because myself and Alex only have so many hours in the day and so many places we can physically, right? We're about to go to our third brand. And before that was coming, we said, we have to find a way to get a parent management company that delivers the unexpected. And in results, right? So it's not only like culture and a feeling of like, how do our feel when they come to work and jumping in the mission? How do we deliver that over to our customer base that makes them a raving fan, like Chick-fil-A says?
Yeah.
Ready to beat the door down to come in and do business with us every day, right?
Bret, why is it so important that we know how our employees feel?
Because if they don't bleed the mission like we do and understand the core values, and I'm constantly a work in progress with that, but they're not going to make that customer feel the way that we promise through our marketing message. It's not going to be felt.
When the why is clear, the how is easy.
It's easy.
Let me ask you, what is the mission of Unexpected Results? If I were to go ask Jason or Ashley or Alex, if I were to go ask them, hey, what is the mission of Unexpected Results? What answer would I get?
Deliver the unexpected culture so you can deliver unexpected results, right? So, or we already have dozens of stories of this, man. Like when our team is hurting, we rally and go, what is it going to take? You need 3 weeks off? Done.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you. You said you're hurting, so we got you.
Love that.
You're gone, right? Somebody's financially gotten in trouble. Let's plug that hole.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to share those specific stories because some of them are a little bit sensitive, but
Sure.
We always rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
You cannot bring, especially if somebody's committed long-term, right? They're the right fit, right seat, all that. You can't bring a problem to us that we're not going to sit there and go, well, how can I help, dude?
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, man, that sucks.
Sure.
Most employers or leaders are just like, as long as it doesn't affect your work performance, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
How does that make an employee?
Man, I love hearing you say this, Bret. I mean, you're truly talking about like truly and authentically taking care of your people. My favorite quote, and I'm sure I've shared it a number of times on this podcast before, is from Maya Angelou. And she says, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that goes such a long way that, your team members are not going to remember exactly what you said or did for them in a particular moment, but you made them feel a certain kind of way. And 70% of of employees, regardless of the industry worldwide, 70% feel unseen, unheard, and unacknowledged. And so they begin looking elsewhere and thinking, you know what, maybe the grass is greener on the other side. But you and I both know the grass is green where we water it. And it sounds like you and Alex and the team are regularly watering the grass. When you take care of your people, that goes such a long way. I mean, when the leader gets better, everyone gets better. And you're truly describing that concept. Take care of it's about connection before content. So I love the fact that this is the model that you deliver and approach your team with. Let me ask you, Bret, of course, this is a leadership podcast. So in your own words, what does leadership mean to you?
It's not about having all the answers. It's just about showing up, honestly. And for myself and Alex, like, we could never, in our early days especially, I know at some point, Josh, like, God blesses us with 100 locations. We can't be there opening and closing doors and mopping and facilitation of customer interaction. Like, we can't do all that, right? But in the early days, we can absolutely show up morally, physically, financially, whatever it might be, to help build it's a small company. It's 8 locations currently operating. 2 more will be by second quarter of next year. So we're talking about 10 that leads over 500 employees and takes care of well over 45,000 customers a month. That's responsibility.
Yes.
Like I'm aware of that. And the leadership looks like being able to equip people on our team, like we talked about earlier, to feel the mission to their core so that they can go and act like Bret, Jason, Alex, Ashley every single day.
Yeah.
And know that when they open that door to their location, they can walk in and go like, this is my place.
Yeah.
Like they, even if they don't sign their name in the document, have the loan in their name, that is their location. They have to take ownership of it so that myself as a leader can continue to get groomed and mentored over having the next level about unexpected culture that this world is asking for and calling us to deliver to an employee base that deserves to experience something unique like this.
So you're empowering your team members to be called up rather than being called out. They're being called up. Hey, this is your location. It kind of answers my next question, but how are you equipping your team to be called up when you just physically can't be in every location at once?
I mean, we utilize our resources. I mean, stuff like this, we can get on Zoom calls and Teams calls. But when you look at the 2 brands right now and eventually in Goldfish, we have a director of operations like person, right, who has unbelievable leadership skills, is a partner to myself and Alex that spends an unreasonable amount of time with us or on phone calls. They get exposed to all the things we do, right? I mean, it could be stuff like these podcasts, coaching in person, their own leadership journey of books and mentoring and coaching so that they can think, act, move just like we, right? And that allows us to essentially be felt, seen, and heard as if we were on site at every location all the time without having to physically.
Love that. Let me shift gears a little bit and find out from you. Let's take it back to your story for a bit. What inspired you to become a business owner to begin with, and what led to your first opportunity to own your first kids?
Inspiration and anger.
Okay, I got to hear more. Inspiration and anger.
Yeah, dude. So my pop worked for Landry Seafood Restaurants for close to 30 years, and we got a front row seat to see them build a company that was based out of here in Houston, Texas only, to a worldwide just 800-pound beast.
Yeah,
gorilla, right? I mean, they have the Rockets now, the Golden Nugget brand, and it's ever growing. Inspiration by seeing that team that was scrappy and gritty just literally pay their dues and get after it every day.
Yeah,
get better and
love that.
Eventually dominate, right? Like
they're proving that this is possible. They're proving that the impossible, quote unquote, is possible.
There's no doubt. The anger piece of it was having terrible bosses that either had stake and ownership in companies, and I won't mention those companies, but stake and ownership in companies when they didn't even deserve to be any type of leader. And go, you've been at this for 15 years and you have a successful company that can sustain the test of time, no matter what economy you're going through, and continue to thrive and do better because of the marketplace that you're in, but you are a horrible leader.
Yeah.
How does this happen?
Yeah.
Anger. Like, if you can do it, all I need to do is figure out what I'm called to do, bro, I'm going to kill it.
It's funny because even what you're describing, I mean, in the service industry, the bar is set so incredibly low. And so if we can, I mean, really what we're hearing is like, if we can just deliver average service, we can set the bar higher. And of course, you and I both know we're not going to strive for just average. One of my favorite quotes, I guess I'm just dropping quotes on this episode, but one of my favorite quotes is from Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. He says, "Beware the lollipop of mediocrity. Lick it once and you'll suck forever." And the reality is, it's so true, because it's like, hey, you get that little taste and you keep your job and you can be comfortable, but we know that growth and comfort can't coexist. And that's really what hinders so many organizations, is you got comfortable team members led by comfortable bosses, quite honestly. People don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to find out, hey, to your point, you guys are being incredibly successful under poor leadership. This sounds like a great opportunity for me to jump into this too, because I know I can do it better.
Yeah.
That's the mindset you're having.
And it really factored around like the pursue your people value I talked about earlier.
Love that.
They didn't, like, at all. Like, problems would come up and be like, man, I'm not your counselor. That's what you want to say to somebody that is killing it for you?
Yeah.
People are going to have problems. It's going to happen, right? Like, it's not how many or if, it's how often does this happen?
Sure.
Right? And so us in our really grateful position that we're in, as long as people are not constantly recreating those problems, that's something that we've learned is if you're getting in your own way,
Yeah.
X person, some tough love might look like this. Own it, get better, or you got to move on, because I can't keep having this problem resurface every single month because you will not deal with it. Now, somebody who is constantly taking responsibility, very self-aware of where they sit in life, and they're trying like crazy to get better, and they just keep getting punched, heart is open and ready to engage to figure out how I can help, because that is our duty to pursue people, right? Not just leave them out hanging and say, figure it out, you better not miss work.
You're describing what I call a CIA team member, people who are coachable, intelligent, which is like emotional intelligence, and the A for attitude.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If you could share a story about a time where I know regularly you're pursuing your people, but could you share a story where you actively pursued someone and was able to see that light switch come on, or a change in this individual's performance or behavior, where you kind of started here and now you're on the other side of things?
Yeah, man, we have a lot of those. This is a co-owned partnership between myself and Alex, and now our new regional director. Our kids great with location. Love this woman, man. She bleeds kids are kids. She bleeds preschool. She bleeds family, faith, so many incredible things. Her mom was the director. She was a curriculum coordinator and assistant director. She didn't think for a million reasons in a million years that she could ever fill her mom's shoes when her mom retired, which she did, and she took the torch. That dude, constant confidence building and hugs and girl, you can do this, and resources and hugs. Like, keep going, dude.
Yeah.
Paid off. This woman, and it's not just me and Alex, man. Like, God had to work, and then like all these people too. But like, I feel so victorious today because she is a different person today. I hope because of what Alex and I have helped her lean into on being okay to be uncomfortable, being okay to just take it on the chin because over again until it starts getting better, and leaning into how great she is versus the doubts that come up. Can I do this? I don't know.
That's so good.
Bro, I don't even know if I can do tomorrow, right? Like, I mean, like, the leadership is not always just easy where you turn a light switch on and get to work. Sometimes it's crazy messy.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's crazy messy for way longer than we ever could anticipate with our own wisdom. It's all for God's plan to build you up to be the person you need to walk in the light he wants you to, right?
Bret, let's lean into that topic, and I'm going to ask you to share with the audience, how does someone get over or get through this imposter syndrome? I mean, you're kind of alluding to the fact that Jackie just did not have a sense of belief, and kind of this imposter syndrome that we all face. I mean, if you're doing something new they haven't done before, you're going to have some potential questions about, hey, can I? And if so, what does it look like? So how do you speak to someone in regards to the imposter syndrome they might be experiencing?
Small victories. And again, we talked about showing up. Even if we couldn't physically be places, I mean, we can FaceTime, we can Zoom call, we can make a phone call. Small victories along the way where it's like, look, I'm going to just do the info, but you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And you're going to watch the,
yeah,
you're going to do it again and watch that.
Love that.
That's a lot of what we did along the way. And there wasn't a ton of like PhD level intelligence in this, Josh. It was just like human interaction, taking extreme ownership and doing it again tomorrow.
Dude, you're just showing up too. I mean, like that, and you talked about that earlier. You're showing up. You're showing up for a team member who may not fully believe in themselves yet, and you're able to shift their perspective for them. Man, showing up is key. Yep. It's key. Good stuff. Well, Bret, let me ask you, what is the best piece of leadership advice you have ever received? Just throwing a fastball at you right here. Best piece of leadership advice you've ever received.
Have a reset factor every single day that makes you forget how great the day was or how bad it was. That's one piece.
I love that.
Because bad's coming always,
yeah,
and good's always coming. So not who cares? Who cares? Like,
yeah,
today we're sitting here. Even if it was really, really bad, let's just be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Even if it was really, really good, let's be better again. Showing up is key, and then just do what you say you're going to do, man. Like, character, I feel like, is just so dead in a lot of, like, personal relationships or business-to-business relationships. Like, simply, you said you want to do the podcast today at 1 o'clock. What if I showed up at 1:30 and be like, what's up, bro?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not what I said, man.
Say what you mean and mean what you say.
You just said earlier, like, the mediocre ceiling bar is set so low. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, right? We have won, not because of intelligence. I promise you. You mentioned CIA earlier. Our intelligence is not high. I can say that with confidence. But we are men who do what we say we're going to do.
Yeah.
That's flat out it.
That's right.
And then you say it translates into showing up. It translates into accountability, great culture. It doesn't quit. And eventually, you become so good and you attract so many people who really are smart, who really are talented,
yes,
who can really move the business better than I ever could, you and I, or Alex could ever do on our own. That's when all of a sudden business owners look like geniuses. Like, come on, man. You're in the pack. It ain't you. It's all these other people that you fought long enough and stayed around long enough and did all the right things to finally get attracted to your team, who make you look like the genius, man. Like, Bro, I promise you, I don't want to look like a genius. I do not need to take all the credit. I want my team to get accolades after accolades after accolades and the life that they deserve to lead that maybe they don't understand exists.
Yeah.
One day.
So good.
So that, mention, like, how do you get them to continue to walk in? Well, where can you experience a culture like this? It's called nowhere. So let's keep doing business.
Yeah. So good. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, Bret, final question. No, I got two more questions. Let me ask you. I'm gonna flip it around now. What advice would you give to a young entrepreneur who says, "Man, I want to own my own business as well. I want to put in the work. I want to put in the time, effort, and energy, and have that say what you mean what you say kind of mindset. Be resilient." What advice would you give to someone who is just starting out?
For sure, be ready to pay your dues for as long as necessary, right? Like, we've had people come to us who are really young, 21, 22, 24, whatever. Doesn't mean you can't be a business owner. But if you've never been in a leadership position, think hard. Do you want to start with being a business owner? Or do you want to go spend 2 to 3 years and work for a company that has great leadership, puts you in a position to have a responsibility to understand? So how messy is this about to get?
Yeah.
Because it is messy. It could be financially messy, or the load of responsibility sometimes is really, really heavy, And, like there's a saying out there, be careful for what you ask for. People think that, that being an entrepreneur and a business owner is all this like sexiness and cash flow is just blasting in from the heavens all the time.
I wish.
Nope. And I know you know that. Right?
Yeah.
Not happening. It's a license to shell out money before it ever comes in for 10, 15 years, right? I think there's so much maturing that needs to happen in an individual where you need to take an accountability test that lasts for several years if you've never been a leader before, right? And it doesn't matter what business industry that's in. It could be anything. Even if you do not interact with customers or you do not interact with tons of people on your team, you have got to be very self-aware of where you sit personally and be able to lean into your shortcomings and work through those things. Say yes to that responsibility.
It's so good, man. I mean, you're talking about just being prepared. We don't have to get ready if we stay ready, and preparation is key. When the pressure's on, we don't rise to the occasion. We fall to our highest level of preparation. And knowing what I know now, years ago, I wish I would have put in more preparation to be ready for life's challenges when I actually wasn't at the time. And, I had to go through things and subsequently grow through things. But this is where, I learned, hey, I should have gotten a coach a long time ago. I should have gotten a mentor a long time ago. But Bret, man, I appreciate you being here. Such a pleasure having you on. I hope this isn't your only time on the podcast. My last question is, how can our audience get in touch with you?
Yeah, man. Well, all over social media, first, last name, Bret, B-R-E-T. Last name is Beitler, B-E-I-T-L-E-R. Send me a personal email. Connect to Bret, so that's bret.checklist@gmail.com. Find me on LinkedIn and connect to there.
Love it. And, I do have another question. You mentioned you're a pilot, and specifically, you were a private instrument rated pilot. I've got to know, what does that mean?
A lifelong journey, man. I'm obsessed with aviation. I love it so much. It's a sense of freedom, and it's just a cool factor to me, right? Just love airplanes. Got my pilot's license over 13 years ago.
Wow, okay.
In Nashville, Tennessee, when I was working for one of my last employers. Love that city, and I moved up there not knowing anyone, so I had no family, no friends, nothing. It was just a job responsibility, and I would drive past an airport every day, and I would just constantly be watching the planes take off, land, I'm like, at some point, I just need to bite the bullet and do this thing, right? And so at the time, I finally had the finances. I didn't have a family. I had free time outside of work. I'm like, okay, let's fill it up with something productive. Boom. Got my pilot's license. And since then, mostly renting airplanes. Had the privilege to buy a small airplane 3 years ago, which I love seeing the country and like just the sense of freedom. And like, it's just one of those places you go to where you have no worries, man. Like, and you can dial in and only be present in what you're doing because you have to be, safety factor, wise, and also cool factor wise. Along the way, Josh, when you run into flying, you have visual flight rules and then you have instrumentation flight rules, right? So instrumentation flight rule does not mean you go fly into a thunderstorm. It just means you can fly in adverse weather conditions that would constantly keep me grounded from taking off or landing unless I could fly through clouds. I mean, that's essentially it is. Like,
okay.
Not dangerous situations, but like cloudy situations that are hugging an airport that keep you from taking off into it, landing.
That's impressive.
Instrumentation allows you to line up the aircraft to where you're literally coming in the runway. Clouds break out. Plane is pointed at the runway. Take autopilot off, configure, land.
Wow.
It is.
I don't think it's that easy. You make it sound it's probably not that easy. Boop, land.
Legit, man. Like, it was one of the toughest things I've mentally had to do. It was about a 9-month journey. And honestly, man, I just got my instrument rating earlier this year. So
okay.
It's like a right now thing.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. That I'm constantly leaning into and learning about. And, a lot of that journey is also translated over to, and how do we continuously become a better business owner because of the things we've experienced in all facets of our life that we can to better communication, more self-awareness factor, decision-making. I mean, all those things boil into flying an airplane, just like having a personal relationship, just like owning and operating a company.
Yeah, love that. How often do you fly?
Not enough.
Okay.
And now that we have an airplane, man, we fly a whole lot more.
Yeah.
We've gone to some really cool places. I mean, I've flown that thing to Michigan and back a couple of times, Nashville, Tennessee, too many times to count, Florida, Arizona, and everywhere in between for both business and fun. And man, it's so cool to just be able to like call your shots and say,
Yeah.
well, we got done early, so let's take off early. This isn't going to work. Let's continue to push the day back. I'll take off on the morning. Like that level of control that I've introduced to some of our teammates who have flown with us, and then a ton of friends and family, to a world that, again, most people don't understand exists, right? Like that general aviation, to where you just literally pull your car up next to the plane, throw your bag in, and 10 minutes later you're off the ground. Like people are just like, dude, where's TSA? There's no drug dogs. Like what? How are we just allowed to just get out of here? Like
So how often? This probably is my last question. But how many times have you said, you know what? It's Saturday morning. Let's jump in the plane and fly to Colorado and go eat at this restaurant and then come back the same day. Have you done that before?
That's pretty far in that plane.
Okay.
But probably more realistic would be like Dallas. Or
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that in the past 3 years, at the minimum 20.
Wow.
Just like, it's beautiful. Let's get some friends together and go have an experience that they didn't think was going to happen.
Yeah.
And we've done it at least 10 times where I've like literally called somebody at 8 in the morning going, hey, what are you doing today? It's actually a free day. Cool. You want to fly to Austin for lunch? And they're like, what? But 10 minutes into the flight, man, they're like, this is legit.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing me on this journey. And
That's awesome.
we get to share an experience that's just very different together.
Yeah.
You know?
Very cool. Very cool. Bret Beitler, man, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you like this episode, which I know you do because Bret is awesome, please consider leaving a review. The more reviews that we have, the more these episodes get pushed out and allows us to reach people and build more leaders. So thank you for tuning into the Josh Parnell Leadership Podcast. Have a great day, everyone. Don't forget to smile today. Tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. I'm Josh Parnell, reminding you to keep leading well.